What is up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Post Race Conversations by FrontStretch.com. I'm Kyle Benjamin, back from a brief hiatus alongside Trey Lyle, who was kind enough to step in after the watch party and pinch hit for Phil Spain, who is managing the Front Stretch socials today. This edition of Post Race Conversations, always brought to you by My Place Hotels, who's the official hotel sponsor of Front Stretch. They've got plush beds, in-room kitchens, and pet friendliness. So there's your perfect pit stop when traveling for racing. And you can use promo code FrontStretch to get 10% off nationwide. That's promo code FrontStretch. And this racing season, be sure to make My Place your place. And with that, we move on to what I thought was a really, really fun Michigan race.
Yeah, it was I just tweeted out at Trey Lau VT. I think Michigan is the most underrated track in NASCAR because it's never in the conversation for the best track. And I feel like that's going to age pretty well after this race.
Oh, 100%. I think during the COT era, and then kind of that middle gap of the Gen 6, it got a bit of a bad rap because you constantly saw those fuel mileage races that were just kind of snooze fests.
Well, today was a few mileage race that was great.
Today was a fuel mileage race, and I appreciated the heck out of it. So that may just be because I'm getting older and enjoy the finer things in motorsports like strategy. But you also had a lot of good 2 wide, 3 wide, 4 wide racing. Guys were able to make moves. I mean, this car really shines on bigger tracks, and I can't wait for them to throw 750 horsepower at it. I think 750 at a track like Michigan is going to be amazing. It's going to be real good. And I thought we were finally going to be proven right. I know earlier this season, those of you who've been around on post race conversations with us know that Trey and I both said before the season's out, Carson Hocevar gets a W. I thought today was going to be the day. The racing gods bit Hocevar again.
Yeah, I mean we
No
were talking.
contact in a flat left rear. Like, how does
I
that happen?
know Neff and I, Mike Neff and I were talking about this last week of listing the drivers we think of who could get a win the rest of the way. It was also a topic we talked about on Happy Hour this week, and Hocevar's name was brought up, and it looked like I didn't think he was going to win at the end, just because I didn't think fuel mileage wise he was going to make it because he was the leader, and unfortunately in those situations, especially here at Michigan where the draft is you're so reliant. I think unfortunately for him, this is another bad finish. I mean, he could have had 3 really good finishes in a row, but instead he has only one last week in Nashville, and he goes from above the cut line, which he was at multiple points throughout today's race, to I think 20 points below it, 20 plus points below it, and that's just a massive swing after these 3 weeks where he was one of the best cars on the track all 3 weeks.
Oh, for sure. Of course, the other thing fighting against him at the end of the race was experience. You got William Byron, who's very savvy race car driver, knows how to save fuel, and then Denny Hamlin, 701 starts and 57 career victories. Hamlin again knows how to race in those situations, and Hocevar may have outfoxed had he not had the problem. But wanted to see how it shook out. Did he have the speed? Did he have the fuel to stay in front? Could he do kind of what we saw during the Indy 500 with cars just slowing the field down and nobody could get past him, and he just runs his race to the end? But alas, posed by Goodyear. But another great outing for the Spire cars. No surprise there. They continue to be fast. Somebody in that camp will get a victory. They are going to a place next week where Michael McDowell has raced before, albeit 20 years ago in a champ car, but he has laps in Mexico City. I also believe Kyle Busch
Yeah, in Xfinity.
does in Xfinity. So a couple guys in the field, SVG, AJ Allmendinger also raced in Mexico City in the champ car. Daniel Suarez, I'm sure, has laps on that track growing up. Really looking forward to seeing how that race works next week. Not to get too far ahead of myself, but the interesting element to watch will be horsepower and engine management because, and you don't really think about this, but Mexico City is like 9,000 plus feet above sea level. It's higher than Denver.
That's true. That's I never
Engines are
even.
gonna have a time. It's going to be interesting to see, are the drivers able to acclimate to the altitude, or the crews able to acclimate to the altitude? How do the engines perform? I'm sure the engineers and those folks are working overtime to make sure everything is kind of, set up properly to perform. But we're going to see a wild race next week, regardless. You could end up with very much a surprise winner if there's a bunch of mechanical issues.
Yeah, yeah, but I like. mm, Are we gonna have a surprise winner? I feel pretty confident on the guy who's gonna win that race.
Somebody named Kyle Larson,
No, 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 no.
Chase
The
Elliott.
guy, no, no, the
No.
obvious choice. He may or may not have just 3 letters to his name. Well, his name. He's really good at road
Oh,
courses. I think this is SVG time.
yeah,
I
yeah, it
I
could
am
be.
I am of the belief that if I had to map out next week, that the Xfinity race will be Daniel Suarez. The reason Suarez or SVG's didn't get that a ride in the Xfinity race is so Suarez could kind of have his crowning moment, win the Xfinity race in a JRM car, and then the next day, SVG wins the Cup race and seals his ticket to the playoffs. Because I think he's going to win one of these next couple road course races, whether it's Mexico City, Sonoma, or Chicago. So
Yeah.
because this track is outside of Chicago, maybe the most technical.
Yes.
So I just think SVG will have such a big advantage. Then he might whoop up the field.
It's a little bit of a shame we haven't seen well, it wouldn't work because IndyCar's racing at WeatherTech next week. I was gonna say it would have been awesome to see Pato Award in a Cup car.
Yeah, that would have been sick. Or Check. I mean, the guy who could do it is available is Checo Perez.
Yeah, he's not doing anything these days.
And I mean, if he still had Red Bull, if he still liked Red Bull are sponsoring cars now.
That's true. It's a good point. All right, so back to Michigan. Ty Gibbs has returned from the dead, P3. Maybe if the race was a couple laps longer, he might have found himself in victory lane for the first time. Shout out to Zane Smith with the top 7. And all 3 RFK cars inside the top 10.
Yeah, I mean, you have to give a lot of credit to RFK. Like Brad saved fuel there late. I think Busher needed probably like 2 more laps, and he probably wins that race because I think he had the better fuel situation than Hamlin. But I think this was a jumbled up top 10 because of strategy and because of the pit situation late. And it was a really, really fun race. And I think you got to give a lot of credit to Ty. Ty was in a prime position for a while. It just seemed like Hamlin saved gas a little bit better. Busher saved gas a little bit better. But for him, I think he just needs good finishes at this point. I mean, he's still 24th in points, and that's just not good enough for a guy who's in JGR equipment in your 3rd year. Really, your 4th, because you basically were a full-time driver, that weird year replacing Kurt Busch.
He's got a lot of seat time. It just hasn't figured out. But you're always going to have that. I think with a 4-car team, you're always going to have that one car that's a bit of an outlier. Not pointing any fingers, but Alex Bowman comes to mind. Who just, again, a string of terrible luck, no fault of his own, gets yeeted into the wall. But I think he'll steal one at some point this season. He's still very consistent. He's just not running well. And then, speaking of HMS cars that kind of are quietly there, Chase Elliott again leads laps, looked to have a dominant car, had an issue, and ended up finishing. Where did Chase end up? 15th.
He was on a bad strategy at one point. The strategy he stayed out, and then they had that quick caution, and he decided to pit again, and then he repitted on that last caution with to get a little extra fuel, and it just wasn't enough.
Yeah, it was an interesting top 10 For sure. Good run by Bubba Wallace. After, again, it seems like 6 weeks of just disaster for the
Yeah,
23 team,
it was
have strung together a few
two
good races.
two top tens, and now, and this is fourth. Like he went. I said this at the end of the post race show, or not the post race show. This is the post race show. The watch party. It was, I think, 33rd, 35th, 33rd, and now he's gone 6th and 4th these last 2 weeks. And he's gone from, at one point in Nashville after that speed remover penalty, he was 20th on the cut line. I think he had 2 guys below him, which basically means you're going to be basically on the bubble, probably with new winners and stuff like that. To now he's plus 60 something off the cut line, and very much in a very safe position, because I think the only person ahead of him in terms of guys who haven't won yet is his teammate Tyler Reddick.
Yeah. Yeah, looking at the points right now, Barry and Cindric are 16th and 17th, but they each have wins. And then you've got from 15th to 10th, nobody has a win. So, you got to think Kyle Busch, Ryan Preece probably on the outside looking in, Bowman also in that danger zone. Chase Briscoe, the luck there will turn around, I think, at some point. But it appears right now your best JGR car is Denny Hamlin consistently week after week. After Chris Bell went on that tear to start the year, we kind of really haven't heard from him much. And then, you got Chastain doing well. That Trackhouse car has found some speed as of late. Elliott's gonna single and double himself into the playoffs. He may not win, but he'll be there on points. You look at your 5 or 6 guys around that cut line. Hocevar probably gets in with a win. And, I think he finds himself in victory lane at some point between now and early September. So be interesting to see how that unfolds.
I think if you want to look at the guys who are currently below the cut line, so you would have to start. Preece and Kyle Busch are out as of now. So Bowman is actually the last guy in, because you have to bump Cindric and Barry above them.
Yep.
I would look at Bowman, obviously, because he's in an HMS car. Then I might rank second SVG, third Ty Gibbs, and then fourth Carson Hocevar. Like, that's how I probably would rank it in terms of most likely to get a win of the, like, not in the playoffs as we started today.
Yeah.
Is probably how I'd rank those 4. And based off of speed, I'd put Hocevar first. But I just think, 1, inexperience, 2, he's in a Spire car. It's still Spire, so they're still trying to, like, you're competing against the best road course guy in the series with 4 road courses before the playoffs, and then a Gibbs car and an HMS car, and it feels like, those 3 probably have better shots at winning a race.
Yeah. If you're looking at odds between now, we're past the halfway point of the season and where we're going to end up. Yeah, I think that's a fair.
Like,
assessment.
if you made Vegas odds, maybe they put SVG as the favorite, because he would be actual betting favorite at multiple races this, like, till the start of the playoffs, the 3 road courses, and then you probably have Bowman and Gibbs similar odds, and then Hocevar a tick below them, and maybe you want to throw in Buescher as a 5th.
Yeah,
I think Buscher's in as if the playoff starts today. And Preece
AJ Allmendinger, always a threat on those road courses. So one of those, one of the 4 left, he's got a shot, or one of the 3 left, I guess, before the playoffs, because he's still got the Roval in there. So yeah, it's a fully entertaining season so far. Today, another day to forget for the Penske group. Ryan Blaney, super fast all day. Unforced error. Spins out. Same with Austin Cindric. The 2 was up front, led laps today. Finished a lap down. And Joey Logano, never heard from him. He was a complete non-factor in today's race.
Not shocked.
Now, a little surprising, though, because, they always say Michigan is, Roger Penske's backyard. Penske's headquartered there in Detroit. Ford, obviously, they're right up the road. They always want to have a big performance, and Ford finished well today, but Ford's flagship team, Penske, their highest finishing driver was 22nd. Joe Liano.
Blaney was good for points of this race till he spun out on pit road.
Yeah, clipping the wall, and then ended up facing the wrong way at pit end's never good. But hey, they've all those guys have a win, so they're all safely in the playoffs. We'll see how it continues to shake out through the rest of the season. But all in all, a thoroughly enjoyable Michigan FireKeepers 400. Michigan put on a great race again. Kudos to Amazon and the team there who put on another stellar broadcast. Fun to watch, enjoyable to watch. The combo of Dale Jr. and Steve Letarte provided that technical analysis is great. And when green flag was like 2:19 today, almost a full 90 minutes earlier than anything we've had so far this year.
Yeah, well, I think that's for other reasons.
And did they move it up due to the threat of rain?
No, I think they wanted to make sure they got to Texas in time.
To get to Mexico. Yeah, the haulers are leaving immediately from Michigan to get to Mexico. So yeah, you move the start of the race up. But the point is, as I get on a brief soapbox here before we wrap up, they have shown that they can start races at a more traditional time. It has nothing to do with catering to fans on the West Coast. It's just Fox has said we want all our races at 3:30 or whatever. And Prime's like, yeah, we can do. We're cool with 2, whatever it was. They went on the air at 1:00 and did their pre-race show, and then they get the race done, and we're here getting ready to wrap up before 6:00, which is phenomenal. Yeah, there's a whole rest of the day involved for race fans. You can go out and you can do stuff. You can have dinner out as a family. You can do some chores. You can get prepped for your Monday back at work. You're not turning off the race and then immediately transitioning into getting ready for the next day. So kudos to everybody for having an earlier race today.
Indeed. I feel like I didn't even need to say anything after that. That was so good.
Thank you. That's my almost 40 soapbox. Bring back earlier start
times. I have one final stat. Denny
Okay.
has now passed Kyle Busch for the most wins at Gibbs.
Really?
Yep. Well, he passed him again. I think Denny took an early lead, and
yeah.
Well, I don't know if Denny ever had it at one point, but you get my point.
Yes. Kyle Busch may get 2 more wins before he retires at the rate he is going.
We'll see.
I think he and Brad Kay have hit that. I think they have hit that wall of drivers who are 40 and older and they've lost a couple miles an hour off their fastball.
Yeah, and it also could be a little bit of an equipment thing, but
yeah.
But
the RFK cars are fast. The 6, not so much.
Yeah. Well, I'm ready to, relax and stop watching racing for a little bit. I need a break.
That's totally fair. It is dinner time here in the Benjamin household. Great race in Michigan. To sum things up, this one brought to you by My Place Hotels. My Place is the official hotel partner of Front Stretch. 10% off with code Front Stretch. They've got comfy beds, in-room kitchens. They're pet friendly. They're nationwide and in a bunch of cities where you can go watch NASCAR racing. So if you're going to a race this year, check out My Place Hotels. Use the code Front Stretch. Get 10% off. And we will chat with you all after the race next weekend in Mexico City. Super excited to watch that one. It's a beautiful track, beautiful part of the world, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So Trey, thanks for popping in, pinch hitting again this season for Phil, and for all of you fans out there. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next week.
Adios.
My Place Hotels is proud to be the official hotel partner of Front Stretch. With plush beds, in-room kitchens, and pet-friendly hotels, My Place makes for the perfect pit stop when traveling. Front Stretch fans can use promo code FRONTSTRETCH to save 10% on your stay at any of our nationwide properties. Sign up for our Stay Rewarded program to get even more savings. With My Place Hotels, don't just stay, Stay rewarded